My name is Christian Ikechukwu Odogo, and you're welcome to the Learning Place, your go-to destination for all things education. Our LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube channels are dedicated to providing fun, interactive, and engaging content designed to enhance your knowledge and expand your horizon. With a new video uploaded every week, there is something exciting to learn or to discover each day on the Learning Place. So please come with me. Let us go into the classroom to learn something new today. Thank you. The Learning Place. Hi, welcome to the Learning Place. Still on the series, Knowing Your Solar Energy. Today, we shall be talking about solar power generation. What is solar power generation? Solar power generation is the conversion of sunlight into electricity or heat using various technologies. These technologies include the photovoltaic, which is the PV technology for electricity generation, and the solar thermal technology for heat production. Before we go further, I'd like to get us acquainted with some of the technical words which I shall be using in the course of our studies. Number one is photons, which are the particles of light. In my last video, the sun, I said the sun produces energy through a process called nuclear fusion. This process involves the conversion of hydrogen nuclei into helium, producing light and heat in form of electromagnetic radiations. These electromagnetic radiations carries some particles of light known as photons. In other words, sunlight is composed of photons. Next is the photovoltaic, the PV. The photovoltaic cells, commonly known as the solar panel. These PV cells are typically constructed with semiconductor materials, mostly silicons, and due to these semiconductor materials, the PV cells produces electrons when exposed to sunlight. What are semiconductor materials? These are the types of materials that falls between conductors and insulators in terms of electrical properties. They have the ability to conduct electricity, but not as well as conductors like copper or aluminum. However, they are not resistant to flow of electricity as insulators like rubbers or plastic. Next is intentional doping. This involves the introduction of specific impurity atoms, such as phosphorus, into the crystal lattice of the semiconductor materials to modify its electrical properties. These impurity atoms are known as dopants. Now, the process of the solar power generation. When the photon, the light particles from the sunlight, hit the PV cells, which due to the semiconductor materials they are made of, releases electrons when exposed to sunlight. The photons from the sunlight excite the electrons on the PV cells to generate electrons or pairs. Don't forget that I stated that the semiconductor materials on the PV is intentionally doped to create an electric field. These electric fields act as a force that separates the excited electrons, which is the negatively charged, and the positively charged holes, causing them to move in opposite directions. The movement of these separated charges results in the generation of an electric current. This electric current is direct current, DC in nature. Since most appliances at home, even the grid, uses alternate current, so we need something to convert the DC to AC, and this is where the inverter comes in. So, what is the job of an inverter? The primary job of an inverter is to convert DC, which is the direct current electricity, into alternate current. How does this work? The electricity generated by the solar panel is collected and sent through wiring and connectors to a central point. The central point is known as the combiner box. In the combiner box, The DC electricity from multiple solar panels or strings is combined into a single DC outlet. Before the DC reaches the inverter, there is typically a disconnect switch. This switch allows for the isolation of the solar panels from the rest of the system for maintenance and emergency purpose. The DC outlet from the combiner box is then connected to the input terminal of the inverter. Inside the inverter, power electronics and semiconductor devices are used to convert DC electricity from the solar panel into AC electricity. The AC electricity is then fed into the power grid or used to power homes, businesses, or other electrical devices. A quick recap of the general process once again. The process begins with the exposure of the solar panels to the sunlight. Solar panels are typically mounted on the rooftop or installed on a solar farm to capture sunlight efficiently. Number 2, photons absorption. Photons from the sunlight strike the surface of the solar panels, interacting with the semiconductor materials and creating electron hole pairs. Number 3, electric field formation. The semiconductor materials on the PV cells create an electric field that separates the charges, leading to the generation of electric current. Number 4, direct current DC generation. The generated current is direct current DC, which is a type of electricity produced by the solar panel. Number 5, inverter conversion to alternate current. The DC electricity is then sent to the inverter where it is converted into alternate current AC to match the standard used by the power grid. Number 6, connection to the power grid or local use. The electricity is either used locally to power nearby facilities or homes, or it is fed into the power grid. And with this, we've come to the end of today's studies, solar power generation. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel at DalearningPlace. Find us on Facebook at DalearningPlace. You can also find us on LinkedIn at DalearningPlace and also on WhatsApp at DalearningPlace. Thank you.